this Saturday at the UFC Apex. The final UFC card of 2025 goes down. UFC Vegas 112, Royval versus Kape. I will only be breaking down the fights that matter the most to me. Obviously, the main event, but there's a handful of other fights here that I like for the matchup. Some have a good storyline and potential fight of the nights here as well. So we're previewing Royval versus Kape in the main event, Giga Chikadze versus Kevin Vallejos, a sleeper matchup between Melkazael Costa versus Morgan Sharier, all-time great BJJ athlete Marcus Buchecha Almeida versus UFC vet Kennedy Ezinchukwu, and you got former Bellator welterweight champ Yaroslav Amosov making his UFC debut versus longtime vet Neil Magny. So let's start with the main event. Look, this is the biggest fight here for the potential title shot on the line. And Tatsuro Taira, he might be set in stone in most people's minds as the most logical next title challenger for 125. But I think with a good enough performance with either of these two, they're going to be hard to deny. I mean, Taira won a controversial TKO. It wasn't the worst TKO stoppage, but that's what happened. It was stopped a little early. If one of these two can win with a great performance, maybe walk away with a finish too, the narrative about the next title fight at 125 will change 100%. Who wouldn't want to see Van versus Royval too? I mean, Kape versus Van in a straight up boxing match would be, in my opinion, one of, if not the best matchup you could make at 125 right now. That's a certified banger. I mean, both fights are certified bangers. Tyra versus Van, it's a little more unknown of an outcome, which isn't bad. I like fights that have you curious and on the edge of your seat wondering what's about to happen. But I also like fights where all signs point to a good ass fight that you wouldn't want to miss. The winner of this versus Van is exactly that, a true main event for a pay per view card or whatever they're going to be calling on the new Paramount deal. It's like PLE or something like that. I don't know. But I but what I do know is this fight is going to have a heavy effect on how this flyweight division plays out moving forward. I'm excited for this one, and I'm telling you, you should too. You do not want to miss this one. You really don't. So let's talk about the matchup itself. Royval is coming into this super slept on when it comes to his game. Now let me preface, I have been one to criticize him in the past, particularly against Pantoja the second time, because that fight, it really opened my eyes to the lack of power in his hands. I mean, Pantoja got a blockhead. Just like Marvin Vettori, Pantoja has a notorious chin. He eats shots like nobody else in this division. That's why he can afford to fight as aggressive as he does, right? So I'll cut Royval a little slack there, but everywhere else, Royval is so creative with his striking. He flows like nobody else in the stand up when mixing up angles and strikes from everywhere. I mean, he's a real joy to watch just work. And look, he's been near the top for a while now. I mean, it's already 2026, damn near. The dude has been fighting top flyweights for pretty much as long as he's been in the UFC. Now, Kape, on the other hand, is a sniper, former Rising champ, of course. 18 of his wins are finishes. He has 21 wins. If you know Kape, you know he's the real deal. He's been riding a strong UFC run so far, and he's looking to finally punch his ticket for a title shot. So, stylistically, this is Royval Chaos versus Kape Precision. Royval wants this fight messy, while Kape wants the opposite. He wants this clean. If Royval is going to win, he needs to absolutely push a high pace on Kape. That's most important here for him. He needs to mix in takedowns too. He's not too known for his grappling skills, but that's not the point here. You don't want to leave the fight in the stand-up too long for Kape to get in his form. Now, kick Kape's legs and body, then work off those kicks to kill Kape's movement by beating up that lead leg and the body. Now, if Kape is going to win, he needs to just stay disciplined and wait for Royval to make his first mistake, which will come plenty. Royval gets wild, and that's perfect for Kape to just sit and wait for that mistake because it's coming for sure. And he needs to hunt Royval coming in on a straight line and counter him there. And lastly, keep the fight in open space and don't get sucked into clinches and scrambles. So with that being said, my pick, I'm leaning Royval here. I think if he keeps the pace on Kape, Kape won't find his form. But if Kape can stay disciplined, line up on those defensive holes Royval tends to bring, then I could be wrong here. But final pick is Royval. Also, Kape, never seen a fourth round. So I don't know. I'll just say round 4 sub then. So let's move on to the next fight. Giga Chikadze versus Kevin Vallejos, a 145 matchup. Veteran sniper versus up-and-coming volume striker. Giga is a tall, rangy kickboxer known for his body kicks. He's dangerous at long range where he can pick you apart with kicks and jabs. But lately, he's shown vulnerability against opponents who can pressure him, wrestle him, and make him work off the back foot. Kevin Vallejos, obviously the younger, fresher guy, shorter, he's more compact. He brings forward pressure with enough of a wrestling threat to keep you honest there. So this is a huge test for Vallejos to prove he belongs in the rankings and that he has the ability at his young age to work good against guys with experience, show that he is getting better for his status. So for Giga to win, he needs to own the kicking range, throw plenty of that shit out there. Calf kicks, body kicks, front kicks up the middle. He needs to meet Vallejos' entries with the jab. Vallejos will be coming forward for sure. And with your reach and boxing ability, that jab will land all night. And then adjust with knees to his entries if he adjusts to the jab. And Vallejos will be shooting takedowns on you, no doubt. First round, you got to shut that shit down and circle off. He's going to try to establish those takedowns early. Now, for Vallejos to win, he needs to get inside safely, slip that jab, and enter on an angle. Push Giga on the fence, rack up some control time there, and even better if you can take him down there too. He needs to mix in takedowns, obviously alongside his combinations for a better entry. And then make this fight a grind. You can't sit there and try to fight a clean fight with Giga. He's made his name through kickboxing and being technical in that facet of MMA, so make it messy. This is a prospect versus vet fight that I'm leaning Giga. If he can keep this at range and shut down those takedowns, Vallejos just doesn't have much of a chance here. I'm going Giga by unanimous decision. So let's move on to my fight of the night pick. Melkazael Costa versus Morgan Sharier. This one will be a banger. Costa fighting out of shootbox, a southpaw on a solid win streak. If he can knock you out or make you tap, I mean, what else I gotta say? He's fighting out of shootbox, guys. If you're not too casual, you know what this means. He trains with Charles Oliveira. Now, Sharier is a former Cage Warriors champ, and he loves to walk guys down and just brawl, man. He's tough, he's durable, and happy to turn fights into wars. People love watching him fight for a reason. This matchup, it's clean southpaw technique versus pressure brawler. Costa's keys to victory here are keep the fight at mid to long range. Stay here and work the jab. Straight left, left body kick repeatedly. Now, Morgan don't give a fuck, though. He will probably still come forward and get in a closer range regardless. So once he has his feet planted, shoot that takedown. You are not winning this fight by standing up all throughout. Honestly, you probably have to take him down and just control him there for the win. Maybe sneak a choke in there. Now, for Sharier, make it high volume, high contact. attack Costa's legs, and cut the cage, press Costa to the fence, and beat him up there. Make this a toughness battle. Costa's technique matters way less in prolonged exchanges. But my pick here is going to be Melchizedek Costa. He just has more tools, and this is one of those fights where Sharier can flip the script quick with his pressure and volume. If he rocks Costa, I don't see him not getting the finish. I'm just going to be honest. I mean, he's good about staying disciplined once he has his opponents hurt. But I got Costa in the decision here. That's just going to be my pick. Now, let's move on to Marcus Almeida versus Kennedy. Look, Marcus Buchecha Almeida is one of the most decorated BJJ competitors of all time. Now, in MMA, with a 5-2 record, all his wins have been finishes. Kennedy, he's tall, long striker. He's 6'5" with an 83-inch reach. He's got power and he builds momentum as fights go on. On paper, striking favors him heavily here. This is just straight up grappler versus striker. So, I mean, Buchecha's path here is pretty obvious. Wrestle early and often. Do not strike to strike. Strike to feint and set up entries. Change levels and get Kennedy to the fence and chain some single legs into body locks. Once you have him locked, grip him, drag him down to the mat, and use heavy top control. Wear on him. Once you have him here, I mean, this is your world. Look for the sub and it's a done deal. Kennedy, though, he needs to keep Buchecha at the end of his jab and kicks. You know Buchecha is coming with level changes, so sit on that uppercut or knee on the entry. If Buchecha gets you down on the mat, you got to frame instantly and get to the fence quickly to build back up. So, with all that being said, my pick here is Kennedy. I just think Buchecha has one way to win. I mean, we know he's going to come to grapple. We know he's going to come to get a hold of Kennedy. So, I think Kennedy's going to be well prepared. So, I think Kennedy will be probably a finish in round 2 or round 3 via strikes. Now, lastly, Yaroslav Amosov versus Neil Magny, and this is a huge prelim fight. Amosov is a former Bellator welterweight champion. He's coming into the UFC with a 28-1 record. But beyond his resume, he's got one of the craziest stories, straight up. He's from Ukraine, literally had to go rescue his world title from his house that was bombed out from the war. That's just insane, man. Now, Magny, he's the ultimate gatekeeper, most welterweight wins of all time in the UFC, tons of experience, long frame, good jab, good cardio, but historically is vulnerable to the wrestling. Good wrestlers have held him down and controlled him there. So, I mean, this matchup is perfect. I mean, Amosov, is he the real deal at the UFC level? I don't know. Let's see. Let's find out. Throw him to Neil Magny and we'll see. You know, that's the type of matchup this is. So, Amosov's keys are pretty simple here. Treat this like a wrestling clinic. Constant pressure, constant level changes. Put Magny on the fence. Take him down and work that top control. Ground and pound him. It's that simple for Amosov here, really. I'm not kidding. And yes, he's the real deal. But it's more because of the matchup itself. Magny he's easy to take off his feet. Amosov should have no problem taking him down once he gets his hands locked around Magny. So, but for Magny to keep this fight, he needs to keep it long with the jab. Teep, he needs to use long kicks too. And throw the overhooks on him. Land knees and elbows in the clinch. Try to really hurt him there instead of just purely defending. And when he gets taken down, scramble quickly. You cannot afford to accept bottom here. Because, I mean, he's gonna have good top control on you if he gets you down. I think this is an easy win for Amosov. Ground and pound, TKO stoppage round 2. So those are the 5 fights I wanted to go over that I feel like you really just have to watch. You can't miss these. So that's my preview of the 5 fights that actually matter on this card. Drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And please like this video and sub to the channel, please. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much. Goodbye.